Right then, welcome to Happy Hungry Hibby. Yes, what we're going to cover this week is an amazing review of a much anticipated cookbook release. I've covered a top 5 whole food plant-based cookbooks and what my favourites were, which you can check out on this video here. And this publisher actually features 2 cookbooks out of that top 5, and it is the one and only Dr. Michael Greger, probably the biggest influencer of the whole food plant-based lifestyle. I wouldn't say it's a diet. And those 2 books were the How Not to Die cookbook, not very aptly named, a lot of scaremongering within the title. I think he did take a lot of feedback from that, and the 2 books that he's published since have been a bit more appropriately named, but all 3 of these cookbooks have been published on the back of the actual core books that he's brought out, and that was the How Not to Die book, which basically interpreted most different cancers and how to reverse, prevent those sort of cancers. And it's a very, very insightful book. But yes, this is an absolutely fantastic cookbook and book, so I do recommend for you to get these. This was published in 2017, and then the more appropriately named cookbook was the How Not to Diet cookbook, another very, very interesting book to read. You can actually listen to it as an audio book as well. Yes, so this is another cookbook, and I did actually think this did improve from the How Not to Die cookbook, a little bit more worldwide with the cuisines. And if you do want to see the reviews of these books, you can check that out. And that was published in 2020, so 3 years after the How Not to Die cookbook. And then finally, yes, the very much anticipated How Not to Age cookbook, and this has just been released in April 2025, which is 5 years after the previous one. Now, what I do like about these books, they are really kind of like the same size and they look good on the bookshelf. Very, very well made books as well, really lasted the years, with lots of glossy and pictures. And the format on the inside is also the same as well. But in terms of content, let's take a look. What I do like about the book is also the fact that the pages are really good quality and there is lots of visuals, and that's really important for people who are sort of amateur, sort of moderate chefs, because it really does give you a visual insight. In terms of the contents, there is lots to go at. There's 12 different sections, and we start off with simple preparations. And what he's done here is he's actually gone over all of the sort of basics from the first 2 books, the How Not to Die and the How Not to Diet cookbooks, but actually called these like 2.0. So it's another version of these. So you've got things like your dates, so I've actually covered that, so do check that out. But when I've seen the use of this, it seems to be a better version. But I'm really looking forward to doing that, because these are some really cool key things to make to support whole food plant-based. And then we go into breakfasts, snacks, dips and spreads, soups, salads and dressings, burgers, wraps, pastas, vegetable mains, bean cuisine, great grains, sides, and then finally sweets. And then of course, you go into Dr. Greger's kitchen, where he's sort of given some of his techniques, also cooking legumes, some hints, and of course the references, because throughout the book he does give you some little content and insights into nutrition, and which is backed up with science as well, with lots of studies. So yeah, it's a really well put out book, and I really do like the kind of like the introductions into all of this. You're going into greens, berries, protein restriction, lots of the commonly asked questions, which is good. Why organic, kitchen utensils and equipment, whether it's using Teflon pans, is there arsenic in rice, how many nuts are too much. I mean, really good little sort of insights. And then we go into the actual core of the book, and this is when we look at the simple preparations. I have covered quite a few of these, so if you do want a sort of a bit of an insight, do check out my videos. I've done the umami sauce, which is a fantastic sauce to make, like a demi-glace, and then your date syrup, making your own veg broth, and balsamic vinegar, nutty palm, savoury spice blend, roast garlic. And then we go into breakfast. So here you can see now, look how well sort of presented it is. And then also the ingredients, most importantly, is in both metrics, which is the UK and US version. So it's a global book. One thing that I've sort of struggled over the years is making sure you do have this so it's universally understood. Yeah, so I do that, include that on my recipes now as well. But you can also, it tells you how many it makes and also the difficulty. And most of these are easy, if not moderate. Now this does look very similar to something from one of his previous cookbooks, which was the I've actually covered this actually. It's like a wrap, it's a chickpea savoury wrap. But this one here is a chickpea and tempeh breakfast burritos, which looks absolutely amazing. I really cannot wait to cover some of these. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a flow through this. So you've got the bulgur with peaches and goji berries. Goji berries, he's not really covered that before. A fantastic granola plus, really good. You know, if you want to make your own granola, a fantastic way of how to do this from oats and also from pumpkin seeds and things like that. And then the 3-berry granola with date syrup drizzle, just showing you how to adapt that, what you've made in advance to use with your own fruit of any choice, whether it be blueberries, blackberries, strawberries. And then blackberry and mango smoothie bowls with barberries. Barberries is a fantastic, and also you can get these dried. It's a Middle Eastern staple actually, which is really good, very tart and sour. Millet brunch cake with strawberries. Banana almond French toast with blueberries. I really cannot wait to try this. It normally is, you know, not a very healthy dish, but proven to show you how you can adapt and have some of these old classics. Baked carrot cake, oatmeal, chickpea flour vegetable frittata, and then we're going to snacks, dips and spreads, where you've got artichoke stuffed mushrooms. Very simple but very effective. Pinto bean spread. Now these mezes are really good. Deviled potatoes, look at that. Really good. Roasted red pepper hummus, green pea guacamole, mushroom pate. Really can't wait to try that. It looks really good. Lots of use of tahini, oat flour, and then also miso as well is a really good thing to use. Nutritional yeast again. Purple sweet potato bites, lemony spinach tahini dip. A lot of influence from Middle Eastern, sort of ottolenghi style in this book, which is kind of like a new chapter. Really, I think they're realising that Middle Eastern is sort of definitely within the top 5 cuisines, global cuisines for trending. Sweet potato rounds with mango avocado relish. Then we go into soups, really good section, and he's covered this really well in the previous books, where I've covered some recipes. Do check out my playlist. So yeah, miso soup with sea vegetables. Very, very basic. You know, just 3 core ingredients there. It's obviously Japanese, very good and simple. Chilled courgette soup, good to include a nice chilled one for summer. All these are easy. Oyster mushroom chowder, look at that, looks amazing. Roasted tomato basil soup, chickpea and kale soup, spicy black bean and tomato soup, Tuscan inspired farro soup with escarole, adami bisque. I've actually bought the ingredients for this and I'm going to cover this. This looks absolutely tremendous, really good. And again, this is an easy one to make. Curried butternut soup with rainbow chard, which is like kale. And then we go on to salads and dressings, very appropriate for summer. And French style potato salads, purple cabbage slaw with Thai style lime dressing, watercress and fennel salad with ginger pear dressing. Bought the ingredients for this too. I can't wait to try this. You can just hear Harvey rising. Spinach mango salad with walnuts and blueberry vinaigrette. Rainbow broccoli slaw. Cucumber salad with tomatoes. Very simple. Roasted chickpea and kale salad with sweet potatoes and apples. Barley salad with creamy tahini dressing. Really nice and fresh. 3-bean salad with spicy tomato dressing. Seaweed salad with cucumber. Really sort of a twist of a Japanese style dish. Then we go into burgers, wraps and more. And this is where we go into things like burgers and lentil walnut burgers with a cheesy sauce. He's actually covered this. I'll put a video link in for their actual video of this. They do demonstrations of how to do this. I think this is the first one they've covered. It's really, really good. And then spicy tempeh fajitas with a ranch dressing, mushroom hummus wraps, grilled portobello burgers with the works, black bean burritos with a tomato salsa, spiced potato and spinach quesadillas. Can't even say it. It looks really nice. Curried tempeh wraps, very similar to the one I've actually covered a recipe for this from the previous books. This looks very similar to that. What they've done here is replace the chickpea with tempeh, a fantastic staple, and we're going to pastas. So we've got rotini with broccoli and creamy cauliflower sauce, spiralized courgette noodles with spinach walnut pesto, buckwheat noodles with cabbage and creamy cashew sauce. It shows you how to make the sauce here. Looks really nice. Lasagna with kale and red lentil tomato sauce. Spaghetti with mushroom bolognese. And in there as well, it tells you how to make a mushroom powder, porcini powder. I'm going to cover something of this because dehydrated mushrooms is a great way to preserve them and use them as a flavour boost. White bean mac and cheese with tomatoes and peas. Tahini soba noodles with bok choy. He did cover a sort of avocado soba noodle recipe. I've covered that, so do check that out. It's very similar to this with a Japanese sort of influence. Singapore style noodles with tempeh. Looks fantastic. Tomato pesto pasto with green beans, chickpeas and bell peppers. And then we go on to vegetable mains. So we've got vegetable sheet pan supper, kabocha squash with a black rice and beans. I've actually covered a recipe very similar to this actually. It's a very small squash and you sort of stuff it. Kale and millet stuffed bell peppers, winter vegetable stew, cabbage rolls stuffed with bulgur wheat and white beans, grilled vegetable skewers with umami sauce, roasted butternut squash with pinto beans and corn. Then we go on to bean cuisine. This is something that is really, really important for whole food plant-based, and lots of studies proving how legumes and beans are really important, especially when we come into things like gut health as well. So pinto bean and sweet potato enchiladas, chickpea and bulgur wheat loaf. Can't wait to do that. It looks fantastic. Sambal topped soy and vegetable stir fry, red bean and tempeh jambalaya, black bean stew with purple sweet potatoes, tempeh satay with a spicy peanut sauce. Sort of Malaysian Thai style sort of dish. Red lentil patties with mushroom gravy. Shows you how to make a really nice mushroom gravy here. White bean cassoulet, which is like a French dish. Tempeh mushroom chili with corn and coriander. 2 lentil dal. So we cover some Indian cuisine, which is not really done much of actually. So this does look really good. And we get on to chapter 10, which is the great grains. I love the title, very catchy actually. Millet and cauliflower top shepherd's pie, turmeric quinoa with broccoli, chickpeas and tomatoes, barley risotto with artichokes and mushrooms, sorghum, which is a new staple. It's really becoming quite a popular staple, this, and is really a resistant starch superstar, as it says in here. It looks fantastic, really nice. Again, with that sort of Middle Eastern sort of influence. Savoury plen to bake, 3-grain loaf, farro and white beans with radicchio and basil pesto, kasha with purple sweet potatoes and kale, black rice pilaf with adami and barberries. Adami is kind of like a soy bean. And then we get on to sides. Provincial style vegetable bake, bit of a French sort of influence here. Roasted root vegetables with balsamic syrup, braised red cabbage with apples and walnuts, something very good for Christmas. Garlicky mashed potato with chard, that looks absolutely brilliant. Do love a good mash. Broccoli with sesame miso sauce, green beans and tomatoes with garlic and pine nuts, roasted asparagus with tahini lemon sauce, again a very twist of Middle Eastern. Indian inspired spiced cauliflower, roasted Brussels sprouts with pecans and shallots, spaghetti squash with edamame and basil pesto. Really, look at that. Lovely. And then we get on to, last but not least, sweets, which we go to mixed berry crumble. Wow, my wife would love that. Blueberry chia pie, molasses spice cookies, better pecan squares, banana walnut cake with blackberry almond butter sauce, mocha chia pudding, cocoa almond butter cookies, coffee granita. Granita's becoming quite popular now. Quinoa pudding with mango. And then we go into the final section, which is kind of like into Dr. Gregor's kitchen, kind of like the things to put in the freezer and do to make things cooking easier for in the week, and then some nice little kitchen techniques, and then we go into the references, the quotes, which is kind of like the appendix. If you do any kind of study, you've got to do the references to back up with the objective evidence of the studies, which is very important. And then you have the, of course, index to look, which is very, very useful. So would I recommend for you to get this? Absolutely. It's really good. I've actually covered quite a few recipes from this already, and I'm going to be cooking 3 of them today actually. I really cannot wait to be covering some of these videos and sharing them with you to just make whole food plant-based easy and to demonstrate how flavoursome it can actually be to cook healthy food. What's good about this book, it is actually whole food plant-based compatible. There's a lot of books out there which aren't, because as soon as you use salt and oil, even olive oil, it's not deemed as compatible for whole food plant-based. That's more plant-based. I'm not too strict on those 2 principles, and if I do use recipes using extra virgin olive oil, I tend to sort of drizzle it over the top at the end, try not cook with it. And if you do see those sort of recipes, just exclude them from you know, you can convert these recipes as I've done from other cookbooks. But yeah, it's a fantastic book. Really cannot wait to cover more. So here is Harvey Hibby. Yes, he's got his own Instagram, so if you do want to check out Harvey, he's now 1 year and 4 months old. Yes, and he's still like a baby puppy. Still like a little baby puppy, aren't you? Eh? What's he do, baby boy? You've always been my baby boy, won't he? Eh? So he wants to go outside and play. He's just been ringing, put his little nose on his bell, telling me he wants to go outside and play. Yes, what a good boy it is. What a good boy. So Harvey wants to go down and play now, so I'll let him go down. Okay, go on. So, really hope you're enjoying the show. Please do subscribe, lots of love and passion going into this. Also, turn on those notifications. Bing! Every fortnight on Tuesdays at 4:30. Also check out my playlist for Dr. Gregor recipes, and I've covered well over 80 whole food plant-based recipes now, so please do check those out. Also put your comments below, it'd be really interesting to hear what your favourite recipes are and what you've been up to. So take care everyone, enjoy.